if I saw Lakme, it
Yeah.
was my mom's brand. Okay.
Mm.
And that's really the code of, it's the last generation brand. But if it had to transform to the current generation, then the current cultural codes needed to be taken, implanted into the visual cues and the branding cues of
Yeah.
Lakme, and then suddenly you move it from the old generation brand to a current generation. While L'Oreal might be seen as a certain young current generation brand, but if I were Lakme, then the cultural hues that come in are very very different, and therefore how do I pick the cues, whether it could be the color, whether it could be the typeface, whether it could be the packaging. All this become very very important, and that's really how you really, if you ask me, deconstruct and then reconstruct the brand, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, correct. Basically, you deconstruct or like dismantle the culture, and then kind of once you know what's emerging, then you reconstruct. In fact, it was interesting you brought in beauty as an example because I
Hmm.
had done a similar exercise for a beauty brand.
Hmm.
Where in fact we found that like brands like L'Oreal and Pantene and all are currently in the dominant space.
Hmm.
So because we are not looking only at like color or something like that, but it's what beauty itself means to
Hmm.
women now in
Hmm.
India.
Hmm.
So earlier, like what could be the residual, maybe some of it is dominant, is looking beautiful,
Hmm.
or whatever beauty products are able to provide to a girl was a better chance at the marriage market.
Okay.
So it was all about getting married, lived happily ever after kind of thing, and most of the advertising was also around that, what we call as bohemian goddess. So
Hmm.
you had all your Priyanka Chopra and Aishwarya Rai coming, very glamorous, overly glamorous. Hair is flying and like the really glamour,
Correct.
sculpted beauty, right? That was kind of a dominant, which is been dominant for some time now. But in our research we looked at like social media content, and we looked at a lot of content coming out from young girls on
Hmm.
social media, on Instagram and other places, about what they, when they are talking about beauty or things, right? And even some recent movies that had come out at that time, like Dangal and other kind of
Hmm.
movies, right? So where we found that for women, it was not that marriage market or that glamour attracting the other gender, which kind of defined what beauty was. It was more about power, actually, what they were looking for. So
Correct.
it
It's,
was
it's
looking
more
at
about confidence. It was more about
confidence,
power,
power.
and so what beauty gives me is more confidence, and therefore, I'm able to express myself. Could be a kind of a code that might come up, right?
Yeah, yeah. So basically, it was about a very like beauty as strength, inner beauty, and
Mhm.
like even products, like you didn't want to have that overpowering glamour or thing. It's like very stable, sorted
Mm. Mm.
sense of self
Mm.
and confidence. And actually, like women want to kind of focus on work, careers, and and like your hair or whatever hair care, skin care, and all, should not come on in the way of your work, basically.
Mm.
So
Mm.
products are also then kind of about convenience and uh,
Very
quick,
nice.
right?
Very nice.
So then as a brand working in that space, then they need to pivot to that
Mm.
side, because that staying in that glamour, beauty queen space, after a few years, you'll get outdated. So
Yeah. So, in fact, the other cultural code that I see is, say, somebody like Ariel doing share the load, right? Which is again another dominant culture that's changing, right? Which is not somebody, who's probably, a brand just cleaning white, but it's about sharing the load. Okay. And
yeah,
that's another cultural code picked up by the brand, and then they're trying to dominate that space. So that's really what you decode and then start
yeah.
connecting a brand to that problem, right?
So laundry, for example, is a very otherwise a very mundane and a functional thing. But
Hmm.
if but if you connect that act of laundry to your life in general,
Hmm.
and how it is embedded in our culture,
Hmm.
then the gender roles and everything will come in. And as a brand, if you're able to abstract
Hmm.
from your specific product benefit to a cultural space,
Yeah.
it really helps to build the brand.
No, no, absolutely.